There comes a time in life when you realize that nobody is coming to hand you the dream. Nobody is coming to drag you to success. Nobody is going to wake you up in the morning and push you into action. You have to do it yourself. You have to build the strength, the fire, and the discipline within you, because your goals are your responsibility and your responsibility alone. Too many people sit back waiting for support, for approval, for someone to cheer them on, and while they wait, life is moving past them. If you want to achieve your goals, you must accept the truth. You may have to do it alone. Doing it alone doesn't mean you're lonely. It means you're powerful. It means you've stopped leaning on excuses. You've stopped depending on someone else's validation. And you've decided that your dream matters more than anyone else's opinion. Think about the greatest moments of growth in your life. They didn't come when everything was easy and everyone was clapping for you. They came in the silence, when it was just you versus your doubt, you versus your fear, you versus the voice in your head telling you to quit. And in that silence, you either rose or you stayed the same. The truth is, when you set a big goal, you will face resistance. People may not understand. Some may discourage you, not because they don't want you to win, but because your determination reflects their lack of it. You can't let that stop you. You can't wait for the world to believe in you before you move. You must believe in yourself so deeply that you don't need applause, you don't need constant encouragement, you don't need a hand to hold. You need your vision, your willpower, and your relentless commitment. Every breakthrough begins with a decision, the decision that says, I will not wait any longer. I will not complain. I will not hope for someone else to save me. I will get up, I will act, and I will take full control of my destiny. That decision flips the switch from dependence to dominance, from waiting to creating. And once that shift happens, nothing can stop you. Because a person who can walk alone, fight alone, and rise alone is unstoppable. So, if you're on a journey right now and you feel alone, don't see it as weakness. See it as training. Life is building your resilience. Life is shaping you into someone who doesn't need external fuel to keep moving forward. Every step you take alone is strengthening your ability to lead, to focus, and to win. And when you achieve those goals, when you hit that level that once felt impossible, you'll know deep down that it was you, your sacrifice, your grind, your faith that made it happen. That is real power. That is real freedom. That is what it means to achieve your goals alone. When you finally understand that no one is coming to save you, everything about your life changes, because you stop living in illusion and you start living in truth. Too often, people wait for a savior. They wait for someone to hand them the opportunity. They wait for the perfect mentor, the perfect partner, the perfect circumstance. And while they wait, time is slipping away. Life is not a movie where the hero appears at the last moment to rescue you from your struggles. Life is not a fairy tale where someone comes to lift you into greatness. Life is real, and in the real world, it is you who must take ownership. The sooner you realize that your goals are your responsibility, the sooner you reclaim your power. Because as long as you are waiting for someone else, you are handing away your strength. You are surrendering your future to chance. And you are telling the world that your dream is not urgent enough to act on today. No one is coming to remind you to get up when the alarm rings. No one is coming to push you into action when you feel lazy. No one is coming to force you to work when distractions are pulling you in every direction. It's on you. And that can sound harsh, but in reality, it is liberating because it means you don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need external motivation to start. You can take control right now. You can begin with what you have. You can carve your path without waiting for the world to agree with you. Think about how many times in your life you might have told yourself, once I find the right people, then I'll really commit. Or, once someone believes in me, then I'll go all in. Or once I get support, then I'll start moving forward. These are traps disguised as reasons. They sound logical, but they are nothing more than delays you create to avoid stepping into the discomfort of responsibility. The truth is, nobody owes you their belief, nobody owes you their help, nobody owes you their support. The people around you have their own battles, their own challenges, their own priorities, and while some may give you encouragement along the way, you cannot expect them to carry you. Your goals belong to you alone, and that is why you must be the one who fights for them, because if you don't, nobody else will. Waiting for someone else to save you is like locking yourself in a prison and holding the key in your own pocket. You already have the power to walk free, but until you decide to use it, you remain trapped, and when you do accept that no one is coming, something extraordinary happens. You wake up to your own potential. You discover the strength you've been underestimating. You realize that if it's going to happen, it's up to you, and that realization lights a fire inside that no external validation could ever match. Suddenly, you stop waiting for the phone call. You stop waiting for the invitation. You stop waiting for the perfect time, and you begin to act with urgency. You write the plan, you take the first step. You push through the fear, because you understand that action today is more valuable than approval tomorrow. Every leader, every champion, every person who ever achieved something extraordinary had to reach that same moment of truth. The moment they stopped waiting and decided to move forward regardless of whether anyone came to help, it is not about rejecting help if it comes. It is about not depending on it. If someone supports you, if someone believes in you, that's a bonus, but it should never be the foundation of your drive. Because what happens when they are no longer there? What happens when the encouragement fades, when the applause stops, when the recognition doesn't come? If your strength is built on the outside, it will crumble when the outside disappears. But when your strength is built from within, it becomes unshakable. You no longer need the world to believe in you, because you believe in yourself, and that belief carries you through storms, through setbacks, through moments when you feel invisible. The realization that no one is coming to save you forces you to build that inner power. It forces you to grow into someone who doesn't beg for opportunity but creates it, someone who doesn't wait for rescue but rises by their own effort. And yes, it can feel lonely at first. It can feel heavy to realize that it's you and only you, but it is in that solitude that greatness is born. Because when you carry the weight alone, you become stronger than you imagined. When you solve problems without leaning on others, you develop skills you never thought you had. When you stay committed without someone constantly reminding you, you build discipline that separates you from the rest. That discipline, that self-leadership, that resilience, it becomes your superpower, and it will serve you in every area of life. The people who make it to the top are not always the most talented, not always the smartest, not always the ones with the best connections, but they are always the ones who accepted that no one was coming and acted anyway. They took the hits, they stayed the course, they rose on their own 2 feet when nobody clapped, and because of that, they unlocked a level of strength that cannot be taken away. So if you've been waiting, if you've been hesitating, if you've been telling yourself the story that someday someone will come and make it easier for you, recognize it for what it is, a lie that keeps you stuck. The people who achieve their goals are the ones who stop waiting and start moving. They don't waste time wondering who will believe in them. They believe in themselves. They don't sit back hoping for help. They help themselves. They don't hand their future to chance. They take control of it. No one is coming to save you, and that's the best news you'll ever hear, because it means your destiny is entirely in your hands and you can begin right now to create it. Independence is strength, and when you decide to pursue your goals without waiting for constant approval, support, or reassurance from others, you step into a different level of power. So many people get stuck in the cycle of dependence, always needing someone to lift them, always needing encouragement to move forward, always looking outward instead of inward for the energy to take action. But the reality is that true strength is born when you discover that you can move alone, that you can carry yourself even when no one is there to push you, that you can hold your vision when no one else sees it. Independence is not about rejecting relationships. It is about building a foundation within yourself so solid that you are not shaken when others don't understand or don't show up. When you rely on yourself first, when you can hold the weight of your dream on your own shoulders, you begin to move with a confidence that can't be borrowed, a belief that can't be shaken, a discipline that cannot be broken. Think about what happens when someone relies too much on others. The moment the support system falters, the moment the applause dies down, the moment the encouragement stops, they collapse, they lose direction, they feel powerless. That is because their drive was never truly theirs. It was borrowed from the outside world, and anything borrowed can be taken back. But when you build independence, when you train yourself to rely on your own willpower, your own faith, your own discipline, nothing can take that away. It is yours, it is unshakable, it is internal. And once you discover that, you realize that independence is not a burden, it is a blessing. It frees you from waiting, it frees you from needing, it frees you from depending, and it puts you in control of your life. There is a unique strength that comes from knowing that you don't have to wait for anyone else to move forward. You don't need constant reminders. You don't need someone cheering you on every step of the way. You don't need approval at every turn. That strength is liberating because it means you can keep going regardless of circumstances. Even when you're misunderstood, even when you're doubted, even when the room is silent, you continue because your power is self-generated. Independence sharpens you, it toughens you, it builds a fire inside that cannot be extinguished. And the truth is, most people never reach their full potential because they never stop depending on others. They're always waiting for someone else to validate their dream, always searching for someone to confirm that they are on the right path. But the people who achieve extraordinary results are the ones who realize that the only validation they need is their own independence. Does not mean isolation. It means self-sufficiency. It means being able to carry yourself so that when support does come, it adds to your strength instead of replacing it. Too many people crumble because they confuse companionship with reliance. They believe that if no one is walking with them, then they cannot walk at all. But when you learn to stand alone, you learn to lead. You learn to keep walking forward regardless of whether anyone joins you or not. That kind of independence makes you unshakable because you are not waiting for a crowd to validate your direction. You are moving because you have decided to move. You are acting because your vision demands it. You are committed because you have chosen to be. And that level of independence makes you unstoppable. Look at the moments in your life where you grew the most. Chances are they weren't moments filled with constant support. Chances are they were the times when you had to figure it out alone, when you had to solve problems without help, when you had to push yourself because no one else was going to do it for you. Those moments taught you resilience, they taught you creativity, they taught you discipline, and they revealed a strength you didn't know you had. That is the gift of independence. It doesn't just help you reach goals, it transforms you into someone capable of handling whatever life throws at you. It builds a level of confidence that comes from experience, the kind of confidence that whispers, no matter what, I'll find a way. That is why independence is strength. It teaches you that you already carry within you everything you need to rise when you pursue goals independently. You stop being controlled by the opinions of others. You no longer need everyone to agree with you. You no longer need constant reassurance. You no longer fear rejection in the same way, because you've built your belief on something deeper. And once you understand this, you free yourself from one of the greatest traps of all. The trap of living to please others instead of pursuing what matters to you. Independence pulls you out of that trap because it teaches you that your path is your responsibility, your dream is your responsibility, and your commitment is yours alone. You stop seeking permission to live the life you desire, and you start creating it on your own terms. That freedom is what allows you to achieve at a higher level than most people ever will, And as you build this independence, you notice a shift in the way you approach challenges. Instead of being discouraged when people don't show up for you, you use it as fuel. Instead of feeling weak when no one is there to motivate you, you rise on your own energy. Instead of giving up because you feel alone, you recognize that standing alone is part of the process, part of the training that life gives you to prepare you for the weight of your dream. Every time you choose independence, you become stronger. Every time you act without waiting for someone else, you become freer. Every time you continue despite the absence of support, you prove to yourself that you are capable, and that proof builds a level of trust in yourself that no one can ever take away. Independence's strength, because it forces you to develop the qualities that matter most in success: discipline, resilience, vision, and belief. When you can wake yourself up, when you can push yourself forward, when you can encourage yourself through tough seasons, when you can trust yourself to handle setbacks, you have become the kind of person who can achieve anything. And once you become that person, nothing external can shake you. You are no longer limited by who supports you, who believes in you, or who shows up for you. You are no longer waiting for the right circumstances. You are no longer bound by the opinions of the crowd. You are independent, and in that independence you discover your true strength. Silence is where growth happens, because when the noise of the world fades, when the voices around you go quiet, you are left face to face with the only opponent that truly matters, yourself. It is in those quiet hours, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when no one is reminding you what to do, that you discover who you really are. The world loves to celebrate success in the spotlight, but the truth is that success is forged in the shadows. It is in the silent mornings when you wake up early to grind while everyone else sleeps. It is in the late nights when you are still working while the world is distracted. It is in those lonely moments when doubt is screaming in your mind and you choose to push anyway. Growth doesn't happen when the world is applauding you. It happens when it's just you and your determination, when you dig deeper because you know the only thing standing between you and the next level is your willingness to endure the silence. Most people fear silence. They are uncomfortable with being alone with their own thoughts, with hearing the voice of their doubt, with confronting the reality of how far they still have to go. So they fill their days with noise, distractions, constant activity, endless conversations, anything to avoid the silence. But the ones who grow, the ones who transform, they are the ones who embrace the silence, who lean into it, who use it as fuel instead of running from it. Because silence strips away illusions. In the noise, you can hide behind appearances, behind encouragement, behind the energy of others. But in the silence, there is nowhere to hide. It is just you, your vision, your fear, and your discipline. That is where the real growth begins, because it forces you to confront the truth and either rise to it or retreat from it. Think about the last time you faced silence in your own life. Maybe it was the moment after a failure, when the phone stopped ringing, when the people who once praised you disappeared, when you felt invisible. Maybe it was in the pursuit of a goal that no one else believed in, when you kept working quietly while others doubted you. Or maybe it was in the solitude of training, practicing, preparing when no one noticed. Those moments may have felt heavy, but those are the exact moments that built you. Those are the times that strengthened you, because you learned to keep going without applause. You learned to believe without proof. You learn to endure without validation. That is the essence of growth. It does not come in the spotlight. It comes in silence. Silence is also where you sharpen your mind. When you are alone, you can hear your own thoughts clearly. You can analyze your patterns. You can confront your weaknesses. You can reflect on your decisions, and you can design a better version of yourself. Distractions keep you from seeing who you are, but silence reveals it. And while that can be uncomfortable, it is necessary. Because if you never face yourself in the silence, you will always remain blind to the habits and beliefs that hold you back. Silence becomes a mirror, and growth happens when you stop running from the reflection and instead decide to shape it into who you want to become, there is a certain strength you only build when you continue in silence. When you keep writing even though no one is reading, when you keep training even though no one is watching, when you keep building even though no one is applauding, you develop an inner drive that does not rely on recognition. That drive becomes your greatest weapon, because if you can persist in silence, you can persist anywhere. The spotlight becomes optional, the applause becomes unnecessary, the support becomes extra, because you already know how to move without them. That is what makes you dangerous to mediocrity and unstoppable in your pursuit. Your growth has been tested in silence, and you have proven that you don't need the world to see you in order to keep moving forward. Silence also teaches patience. Growth is not instant. It requires hours, days, months, sometimes years of quiet effort that no one sees. In a world addicted to instant gratification, people give up too quickly because they don't see results right away, because they don't hear praise, because they don't feel noticed. But silence forces you to let go of that need for immediate validation. It forces you to trust the process, to keep planting seeds even when the soil looks barren, to keep showing up even when nothing seems to be happening. That patience builds resilience, and that resilience guarantees that when the breakthrough comes, you will be ready for it. Some of the greatest achievements in history were built in silence long before anyone recognized them. The champions trained for years when no one cared. The inventors experimented countless times when no one believed. The leaders struggled through endless nights of doubt when no one listened. Their growth came from the silence, from the lonely grind that no one applauded, from the discipline to keep going even when the world ignored them. And when their time came, when the world finally noticed, they were ready, not because of the applause, but because of the silence they had already mastered. So many people quit too early because they mistake silence for failure. They think that if no one notices, if no one supports, if no one praises, it must mean they are on the wrong path. But silence is not a sign of failure, it is a test. It is life asking you, will you keep going when no one is watching? Will you keep believing when no one else does? Will you keep moving forward when the world gives you nothing in return? Those who answer yes are the ones who grow, the ones who transform, the ones who rise far above the rest. Because they learn that silence is not empty. Silence is full of lessons, full of growth, full of the raw material that builds champions. When you embrace silence, you start to use it as fuel instead of fearing it. The quiet becomes your training ground. The absence of applause becomes your reminder that your vision matters more than approval. The lack of support becomes your chance to strengthen your own belief. Silence becomes the place where you refine yourself, where you become disciplined, where you become relentless. And that is why silence is not the enemy of growth, it is the birthplace of it. It is in the silence that you build the strength to handle the spotlight. It is in the silence that you develop the resilience to withstand setbacks. It is in the silence that you create the habits and the mindset that will carry you to your goals long after others have quit. Rejection fuels determination, because every time someone tells you that you can't, every time they doubt you, every time they dismiss your vision, they hand you the gift of fire. Too many people see rejection as the end, as a sign that they should stop, as proof that their dream is not worth chasing. But the truth is that rejection is one of the most powerful sources of motivation you will ever have. When someone closes a door in your face, you can either walk away defeated, or you can decide to build your own door, your own path, your own way forward. Rejection stings, it cuts deep, but if you know how to use it, it sharpens you, it toughens you, it builds within you the kind of determination that no easy yes could ever create. A yes feels good, but it doesn't grow you. A no hurts, but it forces you to rise. That is why rejection is not something to fear, it is something to embrace, because it proves to you how badly you want it. Think about how many people stop after the first no. They give their idea once, they get turned down, and they walk away forever. Not because their dream wasn't worth it, but because they confused rejection with failure. Rejection is not failure, it is feedback, it is resistance, and resistance builds strength. Every champion, every creator, every innovator who ever left their mark on the world faced rejection. They were told their ideas wouldn't work. They were told they weren't good enough. They were told they didn't have what it takes. But instead of letting those words destroy them, they used them as fuel. They decided, I'll show you, I'll prove to you, and to myself, that I can. That's the spirit that turns rejection into determination, and determination into victory. Rejection forces you to look deeper, to ask yourself why you're pursuing your goal in the first place. If you're only chasing it for approval, then rejection will break you. But if you're chasing it because it's who you are, because it burns inside you, because you can't imagine living without it, then rejection becomes irrelevant. It doesn't matter how many people doubt you, because your determination is no longer built on their belief, it's built on your own. That shift is powerful. It frees you from the opinions of others. It teaches you to stand on your own conviction, and it transforms every rejection into a reminder of your purpose. The more resistance you face, the stronger your resolve becomes. The more doors that close, the more creative you become in finding another way. Rejection stops being an obstacle and becomes a catalyst, something that drives you forward instead of holding you back every no. You receive carries energy. You can choose to let that energy crush you, or you can choose to channel it. When someone tells you that you'll never make it, you can either accept their words as truth or use their doubt as the fuel to work harder, to stay later, to prepare more, to push beyond what you thought you could. The irony is that often the people who reject you become the reason you succeed, not because they helped you, but because they tried to block you. Their doubt became your drive. Their criticism became your motivation. Their rejection became the very thing that forced you to grow into the person who could not be denied. That is the gift hidden inside rejection. It builds the kind of hunger that comfort never could. Rejection also teaches resilience. Each time you hear no and keep going, you build mental armor. The sting doesn't vanish, but you learn to carry it differently. You learn that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but a test of your will. You learn to separate your value from other people's opinions. And as you continue to push forward, you realize that resilience is not just about enduring rejection. It's about transforming it. Instead of letting it drain you, you let it drive you. Instead of letting it define you, you let it refine you. That is how rejection fuels determination. It doesn't just push you to keep going, it pushes you to keep growing. Look back at history, and you'll see that rejection is a common thread among the greats. Authors who were told their manuscripts were worthless went on to sell millions of copies. Entrepreneurs who were laughed at for their ideas went on to build empires. Athletes who were cut from teams became legends. What separated them from the rest was not the absence of rejection, but their response to it. They didn't let no stop them. They let no ignite them. They chose to see rejection not as a wall, but as a challenge, and every challenge was an opportunity to get stronger, smarter, more determined. That mindset is available to anyone who decides to adopt it. You don't have to fear rejection. You have to learn to use it. There is something about being rejected that strips away the unnecessary. It forces you to get clear about your vision. It forces you to sharpen your skills. It forces you to strengthen your character. It teaches you humility because you realize you're not entitled to success. You must earn it. It teaches you persistence because you realize that one no is not the end. It is just part of the process. It teaches you creativity because you start finding new ways to reach your goals when the old ways don't work. And most importantly, it teaches you ownership because you stop waiting for others to validate you and you start validating yourself. Every time you bounce back from rejection, you build another layer of determination, and eventually that determination becomes unstoppable. The beauty of rejection is that it removes the weak. The ones who are only half committed, the ones who are chasing comfort instead of purpose, they fall away after the first no. But the ones who are truly driven, the ones who are willing to bleed for their dream, they stay. Rejection filters out the pretenders and leaves the contenders. If you can embrace rejection, if you can let it fuel you, then you place yourself in the rare group of people who cannot be broken by outside opinions. And once you are in that group, you have already won, because nothing anyone says can slow you down. Rejection fuels determination because it awakens something primal inside you. It reminds you that you have something to fight for. It reminds you that you are not here to be handed success. You are here to earn it. It reminds you that every obstacle is an invitation to rise higher, to dig deeper, to prove that your dream is stronger than any doubt. And when you carry that mindset, rejection becomes one of the greatest tools for growth. It stops being the thing you fear and becomes the thing you feed on, the spark that keeps your determination burning no matter how many times the world tries to put it out. Victory is sweeter when earned alone, because every step you take without a hand to guide you, every sacrifice you make without anyone noticing, every hour you put in when no one is watching adds to the depth of the triumph. There is something unique about knowing that you carried yourself when nobody else would, that you stayed committed when no one else believed, that you fought through the nights of doubt and the days of silence without external validation. Success that is handed to you never tastes the same as success you built with your own two hands, brick by brick, moment by moment, in the face of resistance. When you achieve a goal alone, you look back and see not just the result but the journey, and it fills you with a kind of pride and gratitude that cannot be manufactured. You remember the loneliness, the struggle, the temptation to quit, and you realize you made it because you chose not to give in. That choice makes the victory sweeter than any applause ever could. When you achieve alone, you know the price you paid. You know the hours you invested, the sleep you sacrificed, the comforts you gave up, the distractions you resisted. You know how many times you doubted yourself, how many times you wondered if it was even possible, how many times you considered walking away. And because you know all of that, the victory carries weight. It's not just a trophy, it's not just a moment, it's a symbol of everything you overcame. It's proof of your resilience, proof of your strength, proof of your capacity to stand tall when the world seemed to stand against you. No one can take that away from you because no one gave it to you. You earned it, and the beauty of earning it alone is that you don't have to share the credit with chance or circumstance. You don't have to thank luck. You don't have to explain that someone carried you. You know it was you, your discipline, your sacrifice, your relentless commitment that made it real. There's a hidden power in solitary struggle. When you walk the path alone, every obstacle teaches you, every rejection fuels you, every setback shapes you. You don't grow dependent on applause. You don't grow reliant on constant encouragement. You learn to generate strength from within. And that inner strength becomes part of your identity. It means that the victory is not just about what you achieved, but who you became along the way. You became someone who could endure, someone who could persist, someone who could rise above loneliness and keep moving anyway. That transformation is what makes victory so much sweeter, because the win is no longer external. It is deeply personal. It's not just about reaching the finish line. It's about knowing the person who crossed it is not the same as the person who started. You evolved, and the victory is the proof. Think about the difference between someone who had everything handed to them and someone who built it all from nothing. The first might enjoy the result, but the second savors every detail of it. Because the second remembers the grind. They remember when no one believed. They remember when their bank account was empty, when the nights felt endless, when the failures piled up, when they wanted to scream from frustration. They remember, and that memory turns success into something profound. It's not about the recognition, it's about the journey. It's not about the applause, it's about the scars. It's not about what others see, It's about what you know you've endured. That's why victory feels different when it's earned alone. It carries with it every ounce of the pain, the struggle, and the perseverance. And it transforms all of it into joy when you achieve your goals alone. You gain something that others can't give you, trust in yourself. You no longer wonder if you're capable because you've proven it. You no longer question if you can handle pressure because you've done it. You no longer fear solitude because you've walked through it and come out stronger. That trust is priceless. It gives you the confidence to face bigger challenges, to dream bolder dreams, to pursue goals that once felt impossible. Because you know now that even if no one else shows up, even if the world doubts you, you have what it takes to keep going. That self-trust turns into freedom. You are no longer chained to other people's opinions. You are no longer bound by their support. You are no longer dependent on their encouragement. You are free to pursue your vision on your terms, because you have already proven to yourself that you can win on your own. Victory, earned alone, also teaches gratitude. When you walk the road without help, you start to appreciate the small wins, the little breakthroughs, the progress no one else sees. You notice the beauty in the struggle because you lived it. You understand the value of patience because you practiced it. You respect the grind because you survived it. That gratitude makes the final victory even more meaningful. It's not just about arriving, it's about appreciating the entire journey, from the painful beginnings to the hard-earned ending. And because of that gratitude, you carry your success differently. You don't take it for granted. You don't become arrogant. You know what it cost, and that makes you respect it deeply. It becomes part of your story, not just a highlight, but a chapter filled with meaning. Another reason victory feels sweeter when earned alone is that it creates unshakable ownership. There is no doubt, no question, no uncertainty about how you got there. You know it was your sweat, your tears, your persistence. You know it wasn't luck, it wasn't handed to you, it wasn't someone else's effort. That ownership gives you a sense of pride that no shortcut can provide. You don't just celebrate the achievement, you embody it. You know that you've built something solid, something lasting, because it wasn't dependent on others. It came from you, and because of that, it will stay with you. Walking the path alone also prepares you for the future in ways that success built on help never could. Because if you had to carry yourself once, you know you can do it again. If you had to push through doubt and rejection once, you know you can handle it in the future. That knowledge makes you fearless. You stop being intimidated by new challenges because you've already proven that you can climb mountains without anyone holding your hand. And that fearlessness is what allows you to continue achieving, to continue growing, to continue reaching for more. The first victory earned alone doesn't just feel sweet in the moment. It empowers you for a lifetime, because it shows you what you are truly capable of. The world will always try to convince you that you need help to succeed, that you can't do it alone, that you're not strong enough. And while support can be valuable, the reality is that the sweetest victories are the ones you earned without it. Because when you achieve alone, you rewrite the story. You prove that you are enough, that your discipline is enough, that your sacrifice is enough, that your commitment is enough. You don't need to borrow strength. You don't need to wait for approval. You don't need to depend on luck. You have everything you need within you, and the victory is proof. And because you know it came from within, it carries a sweetness that no applause, no recognition, no external validation could ever match.